Twitter used to be a place where people could share and receive the most important information on breaking news stories. And in the case of a natural disaster, like we are seeing with the wildfires in LA right now, it wouldn't only keep people informed, but it would keep them safe. And on Elon Musk's version of this platform, that is not the case. And it's exactly what Elon wants. He wants misinformation pushed in the algorithm so people stay confused. Chaos spurs up, and he is able to create fear that, as we know, MAGA and Elon's new movement that he's a part of can harness for their political gain. And that's exactly what's happening right now. But thankfully, there are those out there calling out not just people pushing misinformation on X right now, but the man responsible for it, and Elon Musk. And that is exactly what Governor Gavin Newsom did, and a brutal takedown of Elon on his own platform that I want to get into. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really means the world to me now. Before we get into what Gavin Newsom had to say about Elon Musk, I want to hear in an incredible breakdown from Chris Hayes all the ways that Elon is spreading misinformation and what needs to be done to combat it.
Lies and hoaxes have always spread during times of disaster. It's a phenomenon probably as old as humanity itself. Even the best of circumstances, a crisis like this chaotic, unprecedented Los Angeles wildfires would be a vector for a lot of bad information. Our polluted information environment is creating an absolute blowtorch of lies being spread by the richest man in the world on the platform he owns to spread them, and the incoming president of the United States. For example, there's the false claim that the city of Los Angeles is out of water. Donald Trump himself posted a number of attacks against California's Democratic governor, Gavin Newsom, because this is what he does when there's a disaster. He sort of looks to blame with lies, including saying Newsom refused to sign the water restoration declaration put before him that would have allowed millions of gallons of water to flow daily into many parts of California. As Newsom's office notes, however, there's no such document as the water restoration declaration. It's pure fiction. One local outlet also pointed out, since Newsom has been in office, there has not been legislation that would do what Trump is describing. Trump made it up. Elon Musk and others boosted the similar claim the LA is out of water to fight fires. You see this everywhere, that Democratic Mayor Karen Bass is to blame, with Musk attacking bad governance at the state and local level that resulted in a shortage of water. I gotta say, this is really important because I've seen this everywhere. It's false. So what is true is that firefighters have been having trouble accessing water from hydrants, pulling it. And there's a very simple explanation for that. It has nothing to do with Mayor Bass. As the head of the city's water department told the BBC, we're fighting a wildfire with urban water systems, which is really challenging. Los Angeles has an urban water system designed, first and foremost, to get waters to homes and businesses. It is not designed to fight massive wildfires in a whole bunch of places at once. BBC also clarified firefighting crews were not without water, but rather faced issues, and this is key, with water pressure. There's water, there's not water pressure. That's true for a number of reasons, including high altitude, droughts exacerbated by climate change, unprecedented demand for water to put out the blazes, the fact that supply lines that feed fire hydrants are being disrupted by the raging wildfires themselves. Again, none of that is the fault necessarily of the mayor or the governor, but the whole point here is to create a story in which they're the bad guys, which is not to say that they're doing everything perfectly. It's just, there's not a real fact here that this is based on. And the misinformation doesn't end there. Musk also claimed, without any basis, the LAFD prioritized DEI over saving lives and homes, which is really a pretty gross statement, frankly. The core of the gross attack appears to be that Los Angeles' fire chief, Kristen Crowley, is both the first female and first LGBTQ fire chief in LA's history. And because of that, to people like Elon Musk, she must therefore be unqualified and therefore responsible for the fire. Now, to be clear, Crowley has served in the LAFD for decades. She worked her way up from a firefighter all the way to fire chief. She received special commendation back in 2020 for her work during saving 9 homes during the 2018 Woolsey fire, along with her wife, who also spent decades in the Los Angeles Fire Department. It should go without saying, Crowley's personal identity has nothing to do with department preparedness to combat wildfires. Musk wasn't done with the gross attacks, though. He also signed off on this post from conspiracy theorist Alex Jones claiming the Los Angeles fires are part of a larger globalist plot to wage economic warfare and deindustrialize the United States before triggering total collapse, to which Musk replied, true. How do I say this? The Los Angeles fires are not part of an intentional plot to deindustrialize the United States. This is the exact same level of nonsense as Marjorie Taylor Greene saying that some Rothschild space laser started the campfire in 2018, remember? Now, this particular Alex Jones theory may have proven too much for Musk, who deleted his response, but Alex Jones, the guy who, remember, lied about Sandy Hook shooting being staged, got the message loud and clear.
Elon Musk responded to a post from the first half hour of my show today where I laid out the basic evidence that the Democratic Party, with their policies, are 100% responsible consciously for the historic fire destroying much of Los Angeles in the last 48 hours.
Consciously. The absolute barrage of garbage, of filth, of sewage being pumped into the brains of people is unbelievable. It starts to feel like a kind of collective informational suicide we're all.
So as we can see so much misinformation being pushed out by Elon Musk, and like I said at the open of this video, it's because he wants to encourage this fear and fear mongering, this anger. He wants to be talking about day and lying instead of actually trying to find solutions to these problems or help people in the most critical moment of need in their lives. Elon isn't responding to the crisis. Neither is Donald Trump. They're trying to use it to their political advantage. And that's why they're lying so much. And that's why Elon Musk loves this algorithm that he's created. When we see natural disasters cause all of this political unrest, or even just the day-to-day news cycle being impossible to understand because there is so much misinformation, fear, and hatred being spread on Elon Musk's platform. But thankfully, Gavin Newsom was there to call it out, responding to a tweet that Elon made. And I want to check both of those out right here. Elon Musk responded to a post claiming that Nome and California Democrats literally decriminalized looting, barring police from arresting looters and prosecutors from prosecuting them, with Elon Musk posting a clown emoji. Now, of course, that is a complete lie. And so Governor Gavin Newsom on Twitter responded, "Stop encouraging looting by lying and telling people it's decriminalized. It's not, it's illegal, as it has always been. Bad actors will be arrested and prosecuted." Talk about bad actors. Just take a look at Elon Musk actively promoting disinformation, trying to spread it all across Twitter, because this is what MAGA wants to do. Not only do they want to cause this chaos, but they want to paint a picture of blue states and blue cities and make Democrats look bad. We saw this during Hurricane Helen with Donald Trump and Elon Musk's lying. And we also saw at that time Democrats have to call out Elon for the lies he was perpetrating. We saw Pete Buttigieg do that in such an important way. But this is what we're so worried about with Donald Trump, when he will continue to push these lies and this disinformation. But when he has the powers of the presidency in the next coming days, whether or not he will actually help those who he views as his political opponents. We saw it during Donald Trump's first term, where he would give limited amounts of aid. In one case in 2017, only 1% of disaster relief aid requested to the state of North Carolina, all because Roy Cooper, the governor at the time, was a Democrat, and Donald Trump's own staff had to show him that there were Republicans and people voting for him in Orange County, California, so he would give the state aid after a wildfire. This is Donald Trump. This is what we tried to warn people about, and this is the political reality. It's why so many Democrats, not only in California, but in Congress, want to get an aid package passed now for the people of California, because they don't know if Donald Trump will do it. They're worried about him not wanting to help people because they live in a blue state. And this is the reality of things. And this is what we've been talking about so much with Trump, what the focus of his presidency is. And it's really just sad that we have to show people in real time that Donald Trump is always and only out for himself, that renaming the Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf of America, or trying to buy Greenland, invade Canada, take the Panama Canal. This is about distracting you from the fact that Donald Trump has only invested in himself and he can't do anything that he's promised, can't lower the cost of housing, of groceries. Donald Trump can't and will not keep his promises. All he'll do is lie, create fear, and politicize natural disasters while he passes big tax cuts for Elon Musk and doesn't give disaster relief to the people who need it most. And Newsom has continued to call out this politicization by Donald Trump in a clip that we can check out right here.
Do the right thing. This is an emergency. We can do all this dance and we have differences of opinion as it relates to all kinds of issues and values, and that's fair game. And that's important. That dialectic's important. But having this kind of friction when it comes to emergency response with emergency responders, these heroes, 12,000 that are on the front lines right now, taking care of people, making sure people are still alive. We're still doing emergency maintenance, evacuation. We're still concerned about flare-ups and spotting. You got kids right now that don't have money for baby formula, and we're trying to get them disaster assistance. You have folks in hotel rooms that have money only for tonight and don't know what's going to happen, haven't even had a chance to see their homes. Here it's standing or it's here and it's not standing. We want to get them emergency assistance over the course of the next 18 months. That's why I was with the FEMA director today. That's what the President of the United States and I are talking about. And I'd like to have that conversation with the next President of the United States. Let's turn the page as it relates to the new incoming president. We'd like him to have the spirit of the current president and have the backs of people so we can recover. I want him to visit and understand the magnitude of the scope, what happened to the American people that happen to reside here in California. I'm not interested in politicizing an event like this. I don't like the banality of it. I don't like the inhumanity of that. I would like people to focus on a collaboration between the executive in Washington, D.C. and in the state of California to help rebuild a community that's been completely ravaged.
Gavin Newsom is spot on. This is exactly the time when we need the opposite of what Donald Trump is doing, lying in, trying to create chaos. And this crisis, because he thinks it serves his political gain, that he can use Gavin Newsom and the people of California as his political pawn at this time. Just take a look at what Donald Trump had to say in a recent press conference.
And if you notice yesterday, the hydrants were empty. They didn't have any water, many of them. They said 20%, but now I just heard 50%, and now none of them have water, and that fire is still raging. When he turned that down, I was going to give him unlimited water. It would come down, it really comes down from the north, way up north, including parts of Canada. It's so much water that they wouldn't know what to do with. Just the opposite would have happened. And that's the reason that this happened. He wouldn't do what we wanted. And we're going to force that upon him now. But it's very late, because I think it's one of the great catastrophes in the history of our nation. This is not just in Los Angeles. I've never seen anything like that, devastation. And we're talking about homes that cost $200, $300, $400 million. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. People that... And very influential people worldwide. I don't know that they ever go back either, because, they weren't happy with California. They weren't happy with Gavin Newsom.
Just spouting off lie after lie after lie. Why? Because Donald Trump doesn't care. And remember, we know that this chaos serves them. It's what Donald Trump is focused on. He knows if he can just, as Steve Bannon says, flood the zone with D's and misinformation, get people confused, create chaos again, we will turn our attention away from what Donald Trump has already admitted that he's failed to do, which is keep the one promise of his campaign that people actually cared about lowering costs. He knows he can't do it. And so he wants us to focus on something else. So he's always waving some shiny, weird object or strange statement or inexplicable and inexplainable performance at some press conference to make sure we're not focused on that. But we have to be focused on calling out the ways Donald Trump is not only actively hurting people and keeping them in fear, but breaking his promises to those who don't really care, that Donald Trump doesn't want to help people in blue states, but when they realize Donald Trump won't help them, the promise that he's made, hopefully we can start to see minds changed, and we already have. So we have to keep hitting that home, and we're going to be doing that on this show every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you're stuck around at the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.